Your favorite PGA and LPGA legends, pros and top instructors are right here every week on Next on the Tee. Join Chris as the greats of the game share their stories, insights and playing lessons. Now, back to Chris and more of the show.
All right, now joining me here on the French Lick Resort guest line is Symetra Tour pro Natalie Sheary. Let me give you some background on Natalie. She is from West Hartford, Connecticut, played her college golf at Wake Forest, where she was named the 2007 ACC Freshman of the Year for women's golf. In 2008, she was named the ACC Rookie of the Year and a top 50 female golfer to watch by Golf Week magazine. 2009, she won the ACC Women's Golf Championship and was named their Player of the Year. She won the 2010 Connecticut Women's Open and was a medalist at the LPGA Futures Tour Q School. 2011, she was the recipient of the Ed Wilson Award for Academic Excellence. She finished 8th that season in the NCAA Championship, and she ended her college career with a 74 scoring average, which is the lowest in Wake Forest history. She joined the Symetra Tour back in 2012. She won the 2016 WB Mason Championship at Thorny Lee Golf Club up in Brockton, Massachusetts. She had another strong year here in 2018, highlighted by 3 top 10 finishes, and I'm very excited she's with me tonight here on Next on the Tee. Good evening, Natalie. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, Chris. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Natalie, I kind of want to go back to your younger years, and I read that you started playing golf at the age of 12, and by 17, you were packing up and leaving Connecticut to go live in Florida by yourself, oh, by the way, to attend the Ledbetter School of Golf. So, let's start there. How do you go from picking up a club at 12 to being that good at 17? Because most of us are just going from awful to bad in 5 years.
You know, I was so lucky. My dad actually surprised me with a golf lesson for my 12th birthday. And I think that was like the smartest thing that he could have done, because I think there's so many dads out there who try to teach, and he got me instruction right away. He did enjoy golf, playing with his friends. But, so he knew the game, but he decided to have me have my first golf lesson as my first time ever playing, and I loved it ever since. Practiced all the time, obviously with my parents helping me out, driving me to and from practice. I did grow up in the Northeast, being from Hartford, Connecticut, so our season is quite short. But I was able to go to a place called Golfers Warehouse, which is basically a huge Dick's Sporting Goods just for golf. They have a bunch of hitting bays, a large practice green where they sold all their putters, and every day after school, when it was winter, when all the courses were closed, my dad or my mom would bring me down there, and I'd hit balls into a net for several hours, and I'd putt forever, and I just worked on my game that way, because I felt like I started when I was 12. Most kids started earlier, especially in junior golf when I was meeting people all the time. You know, they started 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. And they all lived in warm climates, Florida, California, Arizona. So they were practicing all the time. So I felt like at least outwork them, at least I'd have a chance to beat them. So that's what I did.
And Natalie, talk about the decision to leave home and high school to move down to Florida, again, alone to attend the Ledbetter School. It had to be a really hard decision to make.
You know, actually not too hard, only because I've loved the game so much. I knew I was going to Wake Forest at that point. I knew that, Wake being in North Carolina, the weather was going to be better. I was going to have the opportunity to play all year, and I had never had that before living in the Northeast. So I thought that Florida would be a great transition of weather, practicing with other people, learning to be part of a team that would get me ready for my Wake Forest years. So once I had the opportunity, I was offered a scholarship to go to the Ledbetter Golf Academy at IMG Academies in Bradenton. I was so excited. I definitely took them up on it.
So how did you already know at that point that you were going to go to Wake Forest? Why Wake?
I looked at several schools. Obviously, I played AJGA growing up. You need to get your name out there. The American Junior Golf Association does a great job hosting some of the top tournaments in the world. You've got so many international players. But I actually went on to Golf Week at the time, printed out the Golf Week rankings for colleges. I specifically looked at top 10, and then I looked at location, academic. Obviously, they were all good golf schools. So I did look at Duke. I looked at UVA, Wake Forest, obviously, and I looked at a few others. And once I visited the schools by playing tournaments nearby, I just knew that Wake was the place for me, and I absolutely loved it.
And when you look at the rich history that Wake Forest has in golf, some tremendous golf alumni, starting with the King Arnold Palmer, and You've got so many legends like Curtis Strange and Lanny Watkins, Webb Simpson out on the tour now, went to Wake. The list could go on and on and on. Laura Diaz on the women's side. So did any of those, guys or gals come back and spend some time with you guys to give you an opportunity to not only pick their brains, but maybe share a tip or two or share their experiences from transitioning from college golf out onto the pro tour?
My freshman year, Webster was still there. He was a senior, so I got to see him practice all the time, which was really cool. And at that point, he was the top college player, so I knew that he'd go on to great things. Laura Diaz, once I made it to LPGA, was really helpful in my transition from college golf and Symetra Tour out onto LPGA because she was still playing as well. To be able to go to Wake Forest, and single teammate that I had for the 4 years, so we got like 10, 15 girls, every single one of them turned professional. So all of us were practicing hard. All of us had dreams to play after college. So it was really great that once I graduated, the girls who I had played golf with were also out on tour. So there was a lot of love and support happening out there as well from them.
And one of your teammates while you're there was Cheyenne Woods, right?
Yes. Cheyenne was there for 3 out of my 4 years. She is 1 year younger than I am.
So what was it like getting to team with her?
It was really, really cool. Obviously, she won ACCs 1 year, just having so much notoriety with her there. She loved the school as well, just to see her practice and see how much she enjoyed being there, even though she did get opportunities, growing up, obviously being associated with Tiger, being a family member. She didn't have to stay in school for 4 years. She had opportunities. She had sponsors exemptions to go play. It would have been easy for her to leave, but she chose to stay. And I think that's, speaks a lot about her and how much she valued school in Wake Forest and how much she had a great time. So, she really couldn't be a better person. It was a great 3 years that I got to spend with her as a teammate.
So now when I look at the ladies college golf rankings, you got Wake still in the top 15. So how much do you still keep track of how well they're doing and where they are?
I have been keeping track. I had Coach Daly. She was there for 30 years. She just retired this past spring after one of our players won the NCAA championship individually. And actually the UVA coach who was there when I was playing at Wake Forest, she actually transitioned. She's the Wake Forest coach now. So there's been a few changes with the program, but they're still playing really well, still a very strong schedule. So I have been keeping track. Of course, it's always go deep.
Indeed. So Natalie, you're out on the Symetra Tour for a few years, and then you break through at the 2016 WB Mason Championship. You get your first win, not all that far from home. So what was that win like for you?
That was super cool because my dad on back. So to have him by my side and to have my mom watching and to have really close friends and neighbors be able to come up, because it was only about an hour and a half from the house, was something truly special. I mean, that was an awesome day.
And looking back at this season out on the tour, you had 3 top 10 finishes. So give us kind of a report card. How do you feel about the state of your game and the results you were able to get this past season?
The ball striking has been so solid. I actually finished 2017 and 2018 as the number 1 in greens and regulation and driving accuracy. So obviously I know that my long game is strong, and I have to thank my coach Andy O'Brien out of Windermere, Florida. I switched to him just a few years ago, and we've made some awesome changes that obviously are showing out there. But, I mean, on any level, you know what it is. It's all about making putts, and I actually spend most of my time on putting, my weakest point stat-wise, so that's always something that I'm trying to grind at. Obviously, I need to make more putts.
So, Natalie, looking ahead to 2019, do you have specific goals that you set for yourself?
I always have goals. I always have nutrition goals, always have fitness goals. I think that you can always feel better, look better, perform better. I've really tried to listen to my body and just make sure that it has what it needs in order to do everything that I want it to do. Obviously, we have a long season. There's a lot of things involved, whether it's playing 6-7 weeks in a row or driving several hours from event to event. You just need to make sure that you're taking care of your body so that it takes care of you. As far as my game, my coach and I have some things that we're working on in my swing just to kind of tighten a few things up. I don't think that we're far off. But again, it's all about putting right now.
So now talk about your daily routine. What's it like now? As you were mentioning a little bit ago, here we are, we're getting into, the winter season. Talk about what daily life and daily routine is like for you right now.
Sure. Spend last 3.5 seasons in Orlando because of Andy O'Brien, my swing coach in Windermere. And then I also have my strength coach, his name is TA, and he has a great gym centrally located in Orlando that I try to go at least 5 times a week. But between practice, working out, and I also work actually as a caddy. I work at the Ritz-Carlton and I work at Bay Hill, which is an Arnold Palmer golf course.
Wow.
You know, my days are super, super, super busy. So, and that's the way that I like it. I like to use my 24 hours as much as I can, as productive as I can. So, even though I had to relocate down here, obviously, just to get out of the cold weather so that I can keep practicing, I feel like I'm using my time pretty wisely down here.
Wow. So getting to caddy at Bay Hill, talk about what that's like. And do you get the opportunity then at the end of the day or at different times when you're not on schedule to go out and play?
I have not played there yet just because they've been so busy, which is great to see. We have a ton of people who want to play before the guys come in for the Arnold Palmer Invitational, the API. But like tomorrow's schedule, I am doing a double bag loop at 7:50, so I need to be there at 6:50. I will probably finish around noon because at Bay Hill they want you to play in about 4 hours and 10 minutes. And then I will drive just a few miles down the road to Grand Vista and Marriott practice facility, and I'll practice there pretty much from 12:30 till dark. And then try to get a workout in right after that.
So, Natalie, take that a step further. Talk about life on the Symetra Tour. I saw on your Twitter page where you're logging about 29,000 miles a year in your car.
Yeah.
So, talk about the grind of the traveling and all of that sort of thing. Then you got the practice and then the tournaments and the pro-ams. And life isn't always as glamorous as we probably picture that it is out on tour.
Right. I think people most think that we take our private planes, we stay at the 4-star hotels, and we get shuttles everywhere or the courtesy cars. And, maybe some LPGA players get that, but not all, and definitely not the Symetra Tour players. Actually, when I leave Orlando about mid-March, I don't return until October. So everything that I need from March until October needs to come with me. So we play all over the U.S. We have all different kind of weather conditions, hot, cold, whatever. All the extra golf balls, gloves, extra clubs, shoes, everything needs to go with me. So all of our cars are extremely packed. They're like our little U-Haul trucks. So when people say that tour players live out of their cars, that's exactly what it is. And every single week is totally structured. Monday is usually a travel day. Tuesday is a free-for-all practice with a Meet the Pros party every Tuesday. And those are for girls who are in the Pro-Am to kind of go and meet the sponsors, thank everybody for putting on the event. So Wednesday is a Pro-Am, and either Thursday we start or Friday we start. And if it is a Friday start, then usually Thursday there is a Pro-Am as well. And then all of a sudden it's tournament days. At least Friday, Saturday, Sunday we're playing, and sometimes there's a Thursday mixed in as well for our 4-day event.
So how tough is the mental grind, right, of doing all of that? Sitting, in the car for however many miles it is between events, and then trying to get in the gym, and then trying to get out on the practice range and all of that sort of thing. How do you keep your mind in a positive state? Because when I look at your Twitter page, it's all about positivity.
Thank you. You have to stay positive out there. I feel like we live a life that it can be stressful, but at the end of the day, you have to look back and be like, you know what? You know how many people would love to work outside and set their own schedule every single day and be able to go to the gym when they want and meet all these great people nationwide. We really live a blessed life, and I feel like you need to look at it like that. And if I need to drive a little bit to get, from each event to each event, then I'll do it. If it means having all my stuff with me and not flying and not having to have a rental car, that's no problem. I do try to sign up for as many host families as possible because I'm very big into nutrition and meal prepping. And if I can stay at someone who's associated with golf course charity, if I can stay with them and be able to make my own meals and just be able to come home and just have some people to speak with rather than going to a hotel room and having it be super quiet, I feel like that also helps relax and calm down and keep things really positive.
And Natalie, talking about staying on the sort of like the mental side of the game, talk about dealing with sort of the ups and downs. You have a good tournament, you're up. You have a not so good tournament, you're down. How do you not get too down on yourself if you've had a bad tournament? And like my father says, don't read your press clippings too much when you've had a really good one.
For anybody who plays golf, they know, There's going to be days when you show up where everything feels really, really good and you just feel like you can't miss and the hole just seems so big. And then there's some other days, maybe it's even the next day, that you show up and the swing is a little bit off, your kind of tempo is a little bit off, maybe you're kind of quick that day, the putter's not super hot. I work really hard, so I feel like every day I show up, I know that I am prepped and ready to go. It's just about relaxing out there. Maybe it's chatting with my caddy, chatting with the other players in my group. But just knowing that I'm prepped and ready and knowing that I'm going to make mistakes and everybody else is going to make mistakes, as long as I keep positive and kind of forget that shot, that's the only way that you can really play. You hear people all the time saying one shot at a time. That statement couldn't be any more true. Just because I hit a poor shot doesn't mean that I'm going to do it twice. I am going to do it twice if I start thinking about it and thinking why it happened or what's going on. But if I just think positive thoughts and think like, you know what? Okay, I hit that drive bad, but let's see what we can do here. That's what it's all about. It's all about grinding. It's all about seeing what you can do because there are no pictures on the scorecard.
And to that end, what role does the caddy play in keeping your mind focused and not allowing you to get too down or get too concerned about a wayward shot or a missed putt?
Being able to just chat with them, I feel like you're out there for 4.5, 5 hours. You can't focus that whole time. No one can. You have to just focus when you hit that shot. And then while you're walking up the fairway or walking to the green, you have to be able to shut that off real quick. Maybe just a conversation with your buddies. For me, it would be my caddy or the other players in my group, like I had mentioned, just to like relax and unwind and then get ready for the next shot. If you're tense walking down on the fairway, worrying about whether your ball creeped into the rough or worried about what kind of lie you have in the bunker, that's no way to play. It's just too stressful. Golf is such a beautiful sport, and just being outside, just enjoy the day. And I think that having a caddy I take a lot of local caddies. So for me, it's either hanging out with them because I see them once a year, or maybe I have somebody new and it's trying to get to know them and making sure that they feel comfortable out there. That's what it's all about.
Natalie, just a couple more before we let you go. And I was looking at your Twitter page and I came across one of your tweets that I absolutely love. You wrote, "I may not be a Victoria's Secret model, but I could pick one up and squat her." I think that's absolutely fantastic. Where did that come from?
Thank you. I feel like in this day and age, obviously sex sells, and there's so many girl golfers out there, so many fan pages out there of girls maybe not wearing a lot of clothing. They're getting sponsorship deals. They're getting invites everywhere, and it's totally cool for them. But I feel like maybe you can't forget about the other people too, who maybe don't always look the part or, work out and lift. Like, girls can be strong too.
Natalie, let our listeners know, how can they stay up to date with all the great things you're doing and follow you, whether it's online or it's on social media?
Yeah, social media for sure. I'm actually the most active on Instagram, and that's also at Nat Sheary, the @ NATSHEARY. I try to post something either on my story for Day in a Life or on my page. Obviously, I do tweet. Facebook, I'm up there as well. But this day and age in social media, it's not hard to find us. You can always, if you have questions or anything like that, very easy to get a hold of.
Well, Natalie, it's been fantastic having you as part of the show tonight. I hope you'll come back and join me again sometime. Share more of your stories and your insights. Talk about what's going on with you, because I've really enjoyed having you here tonight.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. And I would love to be back. Thank you again.
Take care, Natalie. Happy holidays to you and your family. I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Yes, happy holidays. Thank you, Chris.
Take care, Natalie. That is Natalie Sheary. Again, at Nat Sheary, SHEARY. She's fantastic. And I'll tell you, folks, you look at somebody that is, had a great college career, took a little time to get acclimated out there on the Symetra Tour, but then breaks through with a win in 2016. As she mentioned, number one in driving and greens and regulation the last couple of years, 3 top 10 finishes this year. Boy, it just seems like she's just got everything going for her. She's got a great attitude. She's certainly got the game, as she's mentioned, talking about, focusing on putting. And how many times have we had people on this show from Gary Player to Tom Patry to all the other, top instructors in the game? Short game, short game, short game. Sounds like she's, focused on all of the right things and doing the right things. I expect great things from her. Looking forward to having her back on the show and certainly following her through the 2019 golf season.